What's up, everybody, man? It's Uncle P, man. We are located live at the Cultivate Mature Positivity Studios. We have a great show for you today. It's Chestorian summer school time every Monday from 6:30 to 7:30. Today's topic is education, and I have two dear, very dear friends of mine, right? Personal friends of mine. I look to these people for guidance. I look to these people for direction, and they're here and they're going to break down education. Why is education so important? Why is education at the top of our wish list? Education is the key to all successes, right? So shout out to our sponsors. I'm sorry, Pearson Culture Law, right? Workers' comp. That's all we do. And let me welcome in the family, man. I got Brian Warren.
How you doing, P?
How you feeling? How you feeling, good brother? How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm good.
And the effervescent, ever glowing Christina Delva.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good. And these two they're gonna have a conversation about education. Pierre is out of here, but real quick, I got the intro song that played. If you could tell me the movie that's from and who the artist is, I give you a free CMP shirt on me, right?
Wow,
so
that's awesome.
The intro song, the movie that it's from, and the artist that played, right? But I'm out of here, man. That's all the gifts I got for everybody today. Go ahead. Take it away, Brian, Christina. Have fun.
Hello, Christina. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about education, the importance of education, and how it impacts our community, and how us as a community can help improve the education system here in our community, just by being neighbors, parents, and just family members. How can we help our children? So the first question we have for today is, what is the purpose of education, and why is it so important for our community? Yeah. So.
That's an awesome question. I mean, that's coming right out the box with it. First of all, I would just like to tell everybody a little bit about me. I know people in the city may know or may not know. I've been in education since 1994. I'm dating myself. I taught up at Glen Mill Schools as a general education teacher and a counselor there. I actually moved from Glen Mill Schools to a school called Community Education Partners up in Philadelphia, and we dealt with alternative ed, and we dealt with students that got kicked out of the regular school system and was in our school system. And I was a learning community instructional leader there, left there, and I went to another school called Success Schools, which is also another alternative ed. And I finished with my education so far at Camelot. Camelot is a program that is in the school district of Chester, and I was a program manager for a special education program that we had at Toby Farms for 4 years, and for 3 years, I'm sorry. And then I was also their, I want to say, guidance counselor for the high school kids when I first started there, and I was getting them into schools and colleges and trade schools and things of that nature. So that's a little bit about me, education-wise. But I don't know if you want to give yours, and we could go into the why is education so important. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'll give a little bit of background about myself. Again, my name is Christina Delva, raised in the city of Chester, Holy City, and
Fairgrounds. Sorry.
So the reason why I'm so passionate about education is, one, I actually when I was going through school, I went through a lot of different education types. I went through charter, public, private, Christian, and then I graduated from a homeschool program, a homeschool co-op, where I went to school 3 days a week, was home, went to a program 3 days a week, was home 2 days a week, and I did all my extracurricular activities at Chester High throughout my high school years. And then I ended up graduating. But very early on, I understood how important education was to an individual. Because the more that you know, the more you can do for yourself, the more independent you are, the more of an asset you are to the world. So education has always been key. And because of that, I worked at Widener Park Charter School, and I mentored and I tutored. My kids are currently graduating this year. So I'm so proud of all of my students that I had at WPCS. And I currently sit on Chester Upland School District School Board. And that's what sparked my passion in education. I also have 14 nieces and nephews, all 9 and under, all going through the school district. And it's about time I wanted to do something about it. So
can we get the informal Christina today?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I want to know everything. I want, all your knowledge,
All right.
But I think education is important, and we talk about it. I always say this, and I always say the more education you get, the more money you can make. I know data may not be there all the time for that, but 9 times out of 10, you don't see a person with doctor in front of their name in the welfare line. And not that anything's wrong with the welfare line, but I'm just talking about they're doing things that they want to do. And they're getting things that they normally want to get. So I've always said that, like, get your education to achieve the goals that you have. And doing your education is unbelievable, just to be able to choose and have options because of the education that you have. So the more education you get, I always say it to my kids, the more education you get, the more money you can make.
So that is so true. I was told that with every degree is an additional 2 zeros that you can receive on your paycheck. For me, that was motivation.
Exactly.
But also, I think the purpose of education is definitely to prepare our children into adulthood so that they can be a well-functioning adult and acclimate into society correctly, I would say. Meaning you're able to work, pay your bills, have a house, own a car, do all those things that you want to do as an adult, and education give you the tools. And when I say education, I'm not saying formal education. Education happens in the classroom, but also out of the classroom. After you graduate high school, you don't have to go to college. There's so many avenues, and you can still continue education. You can go to college, you can go to trade school, you can do self-learning. There's internship and mentorship. There's so much you can do to further your education. So when I say education, it's not brick and mortar.
Correct. And that's what I'm glad you brought that up, because, as being a homeowner, let's go back. I went to St. James, and I went to St. James. They had a tracking system in St. James. At St. James, I actually started out in the lowest track because I tested poorly. And then in the lowest track, and I worked my way up to second track, not first track, but second and third, or second track, and doing different things. But one thing I want to say is it was funny because we used to, and it was back in 87, 88, we would laugh or we would joke with people that was in Votech. Well, me being a homeowner, everything I need done to my house, I have to call somebody that was in those trades. I mean, they are the ones fixing my house. They're the ones fixing my car. They are the ones that I call to give my money to because I don't know how to do it. So you're absolutely right with the trade schools. Getting education afterwards doesn't mean going to a college and a university. Is definitely something of getting trades and doing something of that nature.
Yeah. So let's go back just a little bit. Let's talk about the primary education. And one of the questions I wanted to ask is, how important is it to build a relationship with your child teacher as well as with your child while they're going through their primary years?
Yeah, that right there, being in the school system, I would love for everybody to understand that all teachers are on your side. Teachers are good people by nature. They want to give back. They want to help. So being able to be on the same page with your child's teacher is unbelievable success, and it just shows the way that you can work with your child in the school and learn and help your child. So I think that is so important to have a good relationship with the teachers, with the administration, coming up, being supportive. And that also gives your child confidence. They see somebody there, they see somebody helping, and they see the partnership between the mom, the dad, and also the teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. I do believe that there needs to be a cohesive environment for your child. So the participation of a parent is key and necessary when a parent goes to the school. So let's be 100% honest. That's one thing we are lacking in the city of Chester when it comes to parent participation. I want to give a shout out to Main Street because I know Main Street does a very good job and their parents do turn out. But in other schools, we are missing parent participation. What does that mean? What does that look like? It means when there is a report card day where you have to go in and get your child's report card, you should go and get your child's report card. If there's a parent and teacher conference to talk about your child's behavior, you should be there. If there is a hearing on your child, you should be there. If there is an activity where your child is singing in the choir or performing, you should be there. If you're like, there's certain things. Now, I understand that there are responsibilities, and we are a community that struggles. And there's a lot of parents working 2, 3, 4 jobs. I get it.
Right.
But you have to put some type of effort. Maybe you don't make it to everything, but you make it to some things. But it's important for a teacher and how a teacher kind of treats your child. If you know that, hey, that student mother is going to come into the school if something goes wrong, if this child does X, Y, or Z, good or bad. So I was
going to say that I think that is so important because as I was a program manager at Toby Farms for Cameline Lightman Academy, knowing that the parent and me and the parent was on the same page was so important because if we had issues or if the parent had issues, it was almost like networking. She can help us out with her child or his child, and we can help her out. I mean, it was so important to build that relationship and to have that dialogue going back and forth. It was also important that the child be able to see that. The child is able to see the mom, the dad working with the teacher for their education. I mean, that is unbelievable.
Also, the student behaves differently. I've noticed a change in personality with a student that have a parent that is active in their life versus a student that parent isn't active. They have an attitude like, I don't care because they don't care.
Right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
It affects how they behave in the classroom and while they're on school grounds.
Yeah, absolutely. All the time. And that at the primary level and also at the high school and the middle school level also.
Yeah. Yeah. So that leads to the next question, which is, should you badmouth the teacher or the school in front of your child?
I'm old school, and I always say there's certain I was always told stay in the child's place. And bad mouthing and doing all that is not something that you do in front of the child, because once you do that in front of the child, it breaks down every level to that teacher-child relationship and also parent-child. And guess what that child is going to do? That child is going to build a wedge between mom, he did that, dad, he did this and that way. If you have that open communication and you're not bad-mouthing that student, that teacher, or you're not bad-mouthing that school in front of your child, I mean, it can help so much, because certain things child are not supposed to. And I understand getting upset. I understand getting frustrated. I understand even, wanting to rip the teacher's head off because of something you may have heard. But that's not for the child to see, hear, or know about. That's something for you to handle on the adult level. That's my feeling for it.
Oh, absolutely. It also impacts that child behavior, because if your child knows that you do not respect their teacher, they will not respect their teacher. If they hear you calling the teacher a B and everything else, they're going to go and repeat exactly what you said to that teacher. And then when you go in and try to discipline your child for their bad behavior, they're like, well, mommy and daddy did it.
Yeah.
Mommy and daddy said this is a horrible school. So why do I have to listen to you? Why do I have to do my homework? This is a horrible school. So we have to learn not to do that. not just for education, but for different things. Keep a child in a child's place. They don't need to hear and know everything.
That's one you hit on, and we may not talk about this, but you hit on that too. Me personally, do not like when we do that, even in public, about talking about our schools. I'll tell you this, and I know, and being in the school system and being around administrators and being in Chester Upland school system, there's a lot of educated teachers that want to help our community. But so often, sometimes we get to the thing of it's a bad school. And we Chestorians, not Chestorians, the group, but Chester people will always say, oh my God, that's a bad school. Oh my God, that's this and that. Or, oh my God, they're bad. And we say we keeping it real, but we just always, we're perpetuating that negative stereotype of our schools. That's me.
Absolutely. If you keep saying that this school is horrible, then guess what? It's going to remain horrible. And then if you say that it's horrible and you do nothing about it, and you're not trying to implement change to make the school better, then what's the point of saying that it's horrible? I mean, I know people's not gonna like what I just said, but that's the truth. I am a firm believer of being the change that you want to see.
Correct.
So that's a big thing. I'm going through our questions here. So one of the questions that we have is, do you think there's a need to be do you think there needs to be a shift in the curriculum, more classes for trades, more civics classes, and to be even more a more savvy agricultural classes in the school district? So
I'm passing it to you.
Really? You're doing the back and forth thing.
I'm
Go ahead.
I'm all for it. I do think, yes, there needs to be more trades. Like I spoke about it earlier. If we can get that, even at the middle school level, the wood shops, the electricians, the auto body, the mechanics. One of the things that I was blessed to be able to see when I worked out at Glen Mills Schools was the fact that they had so many different shops, and having so many different shops was unbelievable. They had the barbershop that was a school that the kids went to. They had electrician. They had, journalism. They had wood shop, radio, everything that you could think of for our students that, look like our students that we have in the Chester Upland School District. They had that for them. So that would be one thing. And one of the things I think we should push as a community, as a Chestorian, would be to get trade schools back. And getting it to a point where we can possibly get a vocational building to have all those things, and having it just having it for the middle school all the way up to the high school level.
Yep. So I agree. There's definitely, we can increase the trades and increase the necessary life skills that our students need in order for them to achieve as adults. And that's the trades, but that's also cosmetology, which we do have. So we do have some things.
We do have some. I was going to say, we do have some, because people think we don't have any, but we do. We do still have some auto body. I know some students go over to the auto body behind the Boys and Girls Club. So we do have some. I know when I worked at Chester High.
Have you gone to the dining room to eat at the culinary?
That's what I was just going to say. Yes, that is very good, and they do an excellent job. And yes, I forget if it was like a Tuesday or one day that I know that we were able to go and eat and dine in, but that they were exceptional.
Maybe I think getting the calendar out to the community, so maybe they could stop in and actually enjoy the foods that our students are preparing, and learning how to prepare. I think that's important. Learning how to cook for yourself, but also learning the importance of nutrition is also key into adulting.
Yep.
So, but let's take a step back. So I know we talked about the trades and adding more to our school district, but one thing I think people have to understand is the revenue piece and the lack thereof. I know me and you had multiple conversations on how our school district is impacted, being an urban community and having low property value and a low tax base, and that affects how much money we have in order to provide the necessities for our children.
Correct.
Do you want to touch on that a little bit?
That was your part right there. You know,
No.
you had that.
No, but it is true. In the city of Chester, we struggle with the low property value, and with low property value, the less tax you pay. The less tax you pay is the less amount of money that you have in order to pay for the expenses for the school district, for additional teachers and staffing and programs and all those things. So I hope that we touch on this segment again, where we can break down how much properties is valued here in the city of Chester, and look at how we how the amount you pay in taxes, how that's the formula for that. There we go. I was looking for the word there. The formula for that, and how it's important that we actually have to start taking better care of our property. Not putting trash in the street, making Chester a place where people want to live so that our property value can go up. Because oftentimes we say this school district has this program and this school district have that program. You can actually,
why don't we have this? And why don't we have this?
But when we go and we look at their budget sheet and we see how much money they are getting in taxes and how much the Chester Upland School District is getting in taxes, then you'll be like, oh, okay. So I think that I think we should definitely do a class on taxes and revenues and all that for the city of Chester.
And that's something that people and residents and the people of the city need to understand and know, because then some of that talk won't be the same. It's a lot of times we talk about mismanage of the funds, but it's not necessarily mismanaged. The funds that we have, and we don't have enough of them to do the things that we should or try to do that other school districts do. Like, and you talk about it so well with the property taxes and everything like that. So I'm all for it. We can definitely put some people together and have that summer school session. I know we have another educational summer school session, so that would be an awesome thing to do.
Yeah. So the other question was, it's a harder question, and we talked about it briefly before, but what are some of the thoughts of charter school? Because that touched a little bit about the funding and budgets and things like that for the school district. So what are your thoughts on charter school? So I'll start off on this one. So
okay.
Before I take a very hard stance on not putting public schools versus charter schools. I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is quality of education. No matter where a child go in Chester Upland School District, they should be receiving quality education. And when you try to create an argument, which one is better, then you're looking at a parent that may have a child in both schools and saying, well, which child? It's very divisive, very divisive. And I think us as a community, we shouldn't go there. We should hold every school to a high standard and making sure that our students is getting what they need. Period.
And I think that's one of the things that we will. I know that we talk about it, and one of the people that help out with the Chestorians, but I think that's one of the things that we want to do as Chestorians is hold the schools accountable, no matter if they're charter or if they are public, or if they are, the Christian school that we have. I mean, we have a Frederick Douglass Christian school that's also in our city. I mean, we want top education for everything. I mean, education and the fight with charter and public, it almost gets down, and this is what we don't like and don't want. It almost gets down to like Republican and Democrat, and we don't want that. We're pitting people together against each other for what? We want, at the end of the day, we want quality education for our students. Now, I would say this, and some people may get upset or but I don't think we will have the amount of kids going to charter schools or looking for other options if everybody was doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I'm talking about on both levels. I mean, we still have, and believe you me, I'm in the community, we know I still have parents that are, frustrated with charter school education. You have parents that are frustrated with, public school education. You have parents that are just frustrated because they want the best.
Right.
And I think that we should dead that, but we should also understand that, we don't need to be fighting. We just want education to be top notch.
Right, right. And I know today we wanted to focus more on the community piece because oftentimes we point fingers at other individuals and there's three fingers pointing back. So focusing on what us as a community, what we can do to help improve our school district, because our school district is going to reflect how we treat the schools.
Correct.
So talking more about what we can do as Chestorians, as people that live in the city of Chester, what can we do to make sure our kids is getting what they need in, but also out of the classroom? So one of the things we talked about is the after-school programs we have in the city of Chester. We do have a lot of after-school programs. If you are listening and if you know after-school programs, we want you to post it below, and we want to create just a flyer where people throughout the city can see where their closest after-school program is pertaining to their home. So that is something we want to do. But
that is definitely, with parents working and sometimes not being home, the after school programs are key. I know I personally work at the Boys and Girls Club of Chester, and I have to give them a shout out only because I've had my daughter, who is 16 right now, is actually off at a conference. She's been going to a conference for the past 3 years representing the Boys and Girls Club of Chester. They have gone to Orlando, Florida. They're going to Texas, and now they're actually in King of Prussia. But she's going to a conference with people all over the country that's at the conference. And the reason why I bring that up is because they're doing amazing things on the after school program level. I know there's others that I know personally. You have Corey Long, you have the Hicks Foundation, but please, like you said, I don't know them all. And I may miss some people because I'm a little bit older and I forget things, but please put it in the comment section because after school programs are key in our community, and they're major.
Yeah. I also know of Chester East Side. They have an excellent after-school program. Yep. I know Community Baptist Church has an after-school program. Where else? A few churches in the city of Chester have after-school programs. It's just a lot of people don't know. And if you don't know, you're not sending your kids to them. Chester East Side is constantly asking for parents to bring their kids because they have the resources and they will feed your child. They have students from both Widener and Swarthmore that come in and read with your child, do
Chester
math.
Education Foundation too. Yep.
Chester Education Foundation, and some of the schools have after-school program for the kids as well. So make sure your kids are going to these locations to get the help that they need. And speaking of reading, that is something we need to talk about.
Reading, okay.
Reading.
All right.
Reading. Unfortunately, that's something that our community struggle in, and I'll use my own personal experience. I did not learn how to read until I was in the 8th grade. I finally had a teacher sit me down and say, Christina, this is what you need to do. You need to read out loud more. So my excuse, it is an excuse, but my excuse is having foreign parents. Both of my parents are from Haiti. So in my household, we spoke Creole, French, and English. So, but in the house, we spoke mostly Creole, and I spoke English when I was out in the community or at school. So it took me a really long time to catch on how to pronunciate certain things, how spelling, reading, but also when I was in school, I wasn't given a safe space either for me to read out loud and practice, because kids were mean.
Right.
They were so
Right.
mean. They were wondering why I had an accent and why I did things differently, and they made fun of me, and that did not encourage me to learn how to read, unfortunately.
Right.
But now that I'm older, I'm sitting down with my nieces and nephews. I'm reading to them. I'm taking maybe 30 minutes at night reading, explaining to them words, the meaning of words, how to pronunciate things. So I feel as though that's something as parents, aunties, uncles, anyone that have a child in their life, we can sit down and do.
Yeah, I think learning today, and I do, and this is a personal thing right now, but I think it starts with the parents, and I think it starts in the home. And I think, like you just stated, having someone there that takes that time to say, and it's hard right now, and I know it's 2020 and everything's on phones and things of that nature, and everybody's on Xbox and playing games, but telling the parent, or having the parent having that time to say, you know what, we're shutting everything down. We're going to read maybe for 30 minutes out the day, or, even if you want to do it 15 minutes to start off with, I think that is exceptional and that is good. But also, I say it now, parents, you have to display those type of behaviors to your child also. Your child has to see you read. Not only do you just tell your child that, hey, you go read, and I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to be on my phone and I'm going to be texting, or I'll be playing this game. No, read with them. Like you said, that's so important. I can go from personal experience. I was like you. I wasn't comfortable reading. I didn't learn phonics. I didn't know how to pronunciate. So what I used to do when they used to read, I used to always be the one that's counting how many people it is before I have to read, because I used to have to read and try to say it before it gets to me. So I was the one that was reading it 3 or 4 times before it even got to me, so I knew what was being said. Or I was the one that was picking a paragraph that I knew all the words to, because new words got me. But once I learned those new words, I was cool with it. But new words was my key. So I do say it starts at home with parents. I know sometimes parents are limited in what they can do, but please, there are books all over the place. There are things that you can do on a constant basis. If you text your kids new words for the day. Text your kids, what is this word? Give me a sentence to this word. That doesn't take that long to do. Hey, have a definition, have a game. You can play it as a game. If you're texting a word and you have 4 or 5 kids or 3 kids, and the first one get back to me with the definition and in a sentence, then use that. Put flashcards up all over your house of different words, to help, especially when kids are young. You are your kid's first teacher. Understand that. That's why it's so important. You are your kid's first teacher.
Yeah. And to add to that, I believe that reading is the building block and the fundamental to everything. Because if you can read, you can do math. If you can read, you can do science. If you can read, you can do art. You can do civics. You can do everything if you can read. And teaching your child how to read at a very early age is crucial. I know as an adult, as a person that have their masters, I am very uncomfortable reading out loud. And I'm 29 years old, and I learned how to read in the 8th grade. And even today, when I read things, I get a little shaky, because when I was 5, 6, 7, 8, certain things wasn't instilled in me. Right. And even as an adult, it affects me today. Yep. That's why it's important for us to, as soon as they start speaking, you should start investing in them when it comes to reading. Speaking of investment, let's say you're a parent that don't have time, which many parents don't. Again, in the city of Chester, the lack of time. There are programs that you can purchase. We buy our kids Nike, or the Xboxes, or the latest this, that, but we're not buying them Leapfrog, which is it's like a reading game where the kids can it reads to you and it tells you how to pronounce different words, and that's a huge investment. And I know they gear towards elementary school kids. And then if you buy that for your kid, you might not have to read to your kid. You have something reading to your kid for you if you don't have time. There's also other apps that you can get on your phone, on your kids' tablets. Now that we're the epidemic in COVID-19, the students in Chestorian School District received what do you call them?
Laptops, iPads.
Yeah, it's a laptop. It's a type of laptop. Mm-hmm. Make sure that they're on there playing those games, those spelling games. So close down Facebook, close down TikTok, right? That's TikTok. Close down those and give them 30 minutes reading where you might not have to engage with them. Just peek into the room and make sure they're doing it.
Yeah.
So,
and it's also a key. I don't mean to cut you off. Mm-hmm. YouTube has it too. YouTube has so many educational things on YouTube for you to do with your child, or reading, or things of that nature that teachers put up there that you can do. So it's there. The resources are there. You just have to find them. You just have to be wanting them. But yes, I'm sorry to cut you off with that.
No. I just think that reading is the number one building block.
Yeah. I totally agree.
You want to be in the world. Yeah. And we definitely have to focus more on that. And reading honestly starts at home. Home.
It's when you say that and you talk about us, buying Nikes in our community and things of that nature, I always go back to when I was teaching at Chester High School, and I did a little lesson, and I put up 8 different people, and I put the CEO of Louis Vuitton, put the CEO of Michael Kors, put pictures up, and I asked my students to identify them, and they knew not one of them. But then I put Puffy in one, I put things, and I said, we are spending so much time and money and energy making other people rich. We need to make sure that we invest in ourselves and invest in people that look like us and talk like us and come to our community and do things. I know it's off topic a little bit, but you brought me that. Like when you did that, I was like, I'm in total agreements with, what we value in our community. And we need to value the right things. So I'm you hit it on the head.
Also, I have to mention Crozier Library.
Yes.
Hub. I believe they might have story time for kids there. Know when the library is open, go there, get a book. They may have free books for your kids. Pick up the free book. And just utilize the resources that we have in the city of Chester, because we have a lot of them. We are just not aware of all of them.
Christina, I'm gonna ask you this, and this will help me with education, and this will help me. I know when I grew up in my household, and even in my family, people always pointed at me saying, "You're gonna go to college. You're going to be the one, like you're going to go to college." That bar was set for me just by people speaking that all the time. Was it the same with you? Because I know it was with me. And I feel that had a huge influence in me wanting to go, because it was always for me to attain that level. So the reason why I'm saying that is because I want parents to speak that to their kids, and speak that language of you're going to college, and not make it an option, not make it, and not even college, like we said before, it can be trade school, but understand that, hey, you're going to do something and be something.
Yeah. I'm really trying to think back. How was it for me? I think it was an expectation, but my family really didn't have the resources to put me through college. So
neither did mine.
Yeah. See, I know I was always ambitious. I was born ambitious. I always had my goals, and if I had the will, I always made the way. But my parents always said that you're going to do more.
Right.
I know my mother wanted me to become a nurse.
Right.
She always pushed, you should go and take this summer school. You should, my job is having a program. You should go and participate as a high schooler with my job doing this. So they always pushed me, but I don't think it was necessarily towards college, because I'm 1 out of 6, and out of the 1 out of 6, 2 of us completed our bachelor's.
Great. Bachelor's.
But we're all doing relatively well. So I don't think they pushed towards college, like you said. They pushed us to continue education and to be successful.
Yeah, which is good. Which is the same level. Yeah.
But yeah.
We have how much is P? I don't know if we have more time, but I'm loving the conversation.
But
it's good.
before he does come in, what are some of the things that you would like for the key points, or if you want someone to take something away from this message, what would you want them to know?
I want them to understand that my thing is education starts at home first. It starts, the parent are the first teachers. And if that's setting the bar high, if you have learning difficulties, that's actually getting your child in a position of people to help them. Understand that there's resources in the city of Chester. Understand this, and I completely will agree with this. Yes, and we didn't talk about the scores, and I know you have some scores, but yes, they may say that the schools are doing bad, but I think STEM and I think some programs at Chester High School, there's some students that are doing very well. And I want people to understand that. You have some good schools here in the city. So we just try to cultivate that and just try to push that along, and for people to understand that narrative. I think the mindset that we got to stop downing everything and open it up and be a part of that change that you talk about, be a part of that change. So education, I think, is key. The more education you get, the more money you make. I know it's hard. I struggled as a youth in education, but I had to put the extra time in because I wanted to achieve my goals. So that's what I think people should take away.
Yeah. Same. I know that we focus mainly on how us as a people in a community could help better our school district and our children. So that's what I really wanted to hone in today. And I've said that several times throughout the conversations. And I guess my key point would be that the more we focus on our children and the more we invest in them and we give them what we need at the fundamental level in the home, the more we will start seeing our kids achieve and excel. I know we rely heavily on our teachers and our principals to give our children everything, but it should be half home, half school.
Yes. Correct. We should not want it more than what you wanted. The teachers and administrators should not want more for your child than what you want. It should be on the same level. Definitely. I definitely agree with that.
So I did have some data, but we didn't really touch on that. But I will give everyone watching access to the data, and you can actually pull up every school district in the state of Pennsylvania and look at their numbers. And it's actually paschoolworks.org. If you go on there, you can look at school district data, and you can see how our school district ranks amongst all the other schools in the state of Pennsylvania.
Say that one again. What is the website?
paschoolworks.org.
Okay.
I have the numbers from last year, and I did pull up on the website the numbers for this year, but I don't know if we have enough time to dive deep into our students' performance. And also it's a little bit of a Debbie Downer, and we've had such a positive, uplifting conversation thus far. But we're having a part 2 where we're going to actually bring in more of the hard numbers, how the taxes is formulated here in the city of Chester and what it looks like, and more of a budget conversation. So I think once we have the conversation again, it might be better timing.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey!
Uncle P.
Listen, when it comes to education, man, you two are a part of a team that I see, leading the pack and bringing this new awakening and this new energy to our community. So, I want to thank both of you guys for stopping through and sharing with the community, right? Chestorian Summer School. That's what it's about, right? Each one teach one, each one reach one. So we giving back to the community, education, right? Finances, community, and then government.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to go. So I want to thank Christina Delva for stopping through. Christina, you are now. See you later. Brian Warren, man, how you feeling, brother?
I'm good. I think it went
Good?
well. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much. This is awesome. This is awesome.
No problem, man. Go ahead. You're out of here, too. Listen, man, I told y'all earlier, man, for the intro song, I was giving away a shirt, maybe a hat. If you could guess this song, this intro song, the outro song, right? What movie it's from, and who are the piano player and the trumpet, right? The CMPRadio.net, man, reminding you to love each other, share a good time, share good thoughts, share good energy. We're out of here.